And being, it is the, what is it we call it? We call it the Martin Fowler Scrum.
Martin Fowler.
It is Martin Fowler, that's right. Yay, Martin Fowler. It's Sam, Thomas, and Paul. Updates. So yesterday evening, I managed to get 2 pull requests green, at least on the integrated tests for website 1, which refactors the premium sort of charges controller as a subscription controller, which I think is an important namespace change. And then we've got finally a sort of the PayPal feature, which we've had there on the same page for the so for the premium sign up page, we'll now have the option of you can do PayPal, you can do credit card via Stripe. So that's pleasing, although of course playing with the CSS. Yeah, I think there's definitely room for a review of how the CSS and everything is working with Rails on website 1. But so that, yeah, reasonable. Got a new thing, which was one premium user wanting to sort of lock in a change to a plan in the future, which kind of raises interesting questions about that kind of feature there. But I won't go into that. And then this morning, I just feel like I must catch up with kind of the social media stuff and limit the amount of time that I spend blogging. Yeah, lots of things. Lots of meetings today. We've got the Wikimedia EDU Foundation thing kickoff. I've got a meeting with the DREE sponsor, and then I have had little nibbles from GitHub and Semaphore on the sponsoring front. Heroku came back and just said no, and but then maybe they'll have a new thing next year. So there's kind of like little tinkering things going on. Gosh, how to fit in all the coding with the meetings, with the sponsors and the people, and there we go. And right now I'm just reviewing local. I'm trying to do a big local support review and review all the pull requests. Yeah, so that's, I think, there maybe pairing with Michael at the top of the hour if he's available. That's me. So that's me. Let me go on to Thomas, who is second. Thomas, how are things going with you?
Well, I'm hanging in there, as I said. But hearing you talking about all of this stuff makes me feel inferior, to be honest, because I don't do half of the things that you do. I don't have as many things to juggle.
Man, come on, how can it make you feel inferior? I've seen the wonderful, I'm just like envious of all the wonderful media stuff that you do with Cropper, with these, like, I see the stuff and I'm thinking, well, ours doesn't look as good as yours. And so anyway.
Well, there you go. So we can support each other. We can Well, anyway, what I would like to say is if you need any help with taking any meetings, just don't hesitate to ask me.
Thanks, Thomas.
I am fairly civilized in contacts with people, so I shouldn't embarrass you too much. And also, on a personal note, that Wikimedia meeting, when is that due? Is it open?
It is open. It is 3 p.m. UTC today, which is in 3.5 hours from now.
So 600 hours my time then. Okay. Sorry, Michael, you were saying something.
I said, what was it going to be about? Just the project?
The project, yeah. The key thing there. So, like, this is like the Wikimedia EDU. Actually, Pat probably knows more about that. Maybe Pat can update us when he. Okay. Should we finish Thomas's thing and then Pat can update us?
But I'll be happy to join in. So we just had a meeting here internally about the visualizer project. I just want to mention this. So we are, as a company with my investors, we're committed to the open process and open source, which makes me very happy, because there was a little resistance between among my investors to actually work on something, invest our time and money, and then open source it. And not only that, but also actually open the process and everything, but now I've got an okay, which makes me very happy, because that makes this company actually be something that I enjoy myself, so I'm very happy for that. Just want to mention it. That's my report, basically.
All right.
Who's leading the meeting?
Thank you, Thomas. Let's go on. Sorry, I was distracted. It was like, I thought there was something else coming next, and there wasn't. And it was like,
no, I just said that I was just, that was my report. I just
right, yeah. Okay, let's go on to Paul. Paul, how are things? Thank you for your report, Thomas. Paul, what's up with you?
Well, I've been working through
here comes the vote.
Comments on a pull request to NetBus, and I've got a few questions for Patrick.
Great.
I'll sort of take it later.
your audio is now, it's not Mickey Mouse, but it's sounding very, it's like it's something. Oh, come on. I think we could hear you have a pull request. You're working on your review from Paul. So yeah. If there's any other, obviously you want to connect up with Pat. Unless there's anything else.
Come in again.
You certainly. Why don't you try that? I'll go to Michael next. Michael, how are things going with you?
Great.
Yeah. Anything to report?
No.
You are busy, not wasting our time, which we love. Patrick, how are things going with you?
Good, thank you. So where have I been? I've been grooming stories for Met Plus in anticipation of getting 1 or 2 new people coming in who might want to start in on stuff. I added stories as well. I arranged a project review, in fact, with one of the new people. His name is Rory, so that'll be happening 2.5 hours from now. He seems to be very interested. Maybe I should invite other people too and put it out there. I'm working on removing Selenium tests. I'm down to 1 feature that uses Selenium tests, and I've narrowed it down to 1 particular form that I think has some flaky select action going on there and a couple of fields. So I just have to focus on that, and I think I'll be done. So I don't think it's a Selenium Bolger problem I'm facing. I think it's just some flaky selects that are happening now. And of course, in 3.5 hours from now, we do have the overview of the wiki.edu dashboard thing. So the project manager there is Sage Ross, who we connected through over Slack and talked to on one of the scrums for the US Scrum, in fact, before we changed the name. Anyway, they have a course management system that helps writing of Wikipedia articles, and it's intended for use in kind of an academic setting where a professor might give a homework assignment to a student to write a Wikipedia article, something that's researched and vetted, etc. And this particular application helps manage that process between the student and the teacher or the professor, for want of a better term. So anyway, he works for an organization that is a nonprofit, is a spinoff from the Wikimedia Foundation, which is a nonprofit that manages and maintains the wikipedia.org site. So this particular foundation that Sage works for is a spinoff from that. It's based in San Francisco, but Sage is based in Seattle. Let's see, what else can we say? So this initial application was developed about 1.5 years ago by a commercial agency. And of course, then they don't have budget right now for much in terms of commercial activity. They do have a little bit of money that they spend on bugs. I think it's like maybe 1 development day a week, that kind of thing. So Sage right now is the lead developer, and he's learned Rails, and it's a Rails React app. So he's learned all the technology stack in the context of taking over this system and managing it. So he seems to be pretty adept at this stuff at this point.
Good, sure.
And I think that's okay. So Sage said, and when I talked to him, he's willing to be the project manager, Scrum Master, etc. He's willing to hold periodic scrums. I suggested maybe every day or every other day, depending upon the level of activity. So he's willing to do all that stuff that we're looking for in terms of managing the Scrum process, which of course we want to make clear right up front that we need to have it done that way. I mean, that'd be the best way to do it. So he's all on board with that stuff, and he's very excited.
Fantastic.
And as everybody's seen, he's linked in with Slack, and he's got integration for notification of events, and you can see he's pretty busy. Yesterday I saw a lot of things coming in. So it looks like a very exciting project. And the other thing is, if you look at the website for it, you'll see that they have actually thousands of users using this thing, both domestically and internationally. So it looks pretty cool. Yep. And he's on Rails 5 and probably the latest version of React, so he's keeping up with everything as well, which is great.
I have a question.
And
so do you know, is he involved in deploying this application also? How is it deployed?
That I don't know. So I've already told you more than I know about it. So hopefully we'll find out a lot more.
You've extended beyond what you know.
I love
you've been speculating already, and so now
I do that all the time, so I love it.
I'm just way out there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, and a great question, Thomas, for the obviously the meeting. And we'll put that to him, even if you can't make it today.
So I'm very interested in, so because with thousands of concurrent users, they probably scale it up somehow, and that would be very interesting to hear.
Yeah.
And also if there's so many cloud services and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that leads me to one thing I've just been adding to the documentation based on some discussions that Thomas and I have had about people starting new projects is a sort of a recommendation that people starting new projects do get involved with other existing projects. I've put like a recommendation at the start of how to start a project to say we strongly recommend submitting, to a few other projects first to kind of like get into that flow of seeing how Agile Ventures projects run. Obviously, for people who are sort of coming in before that, we can't lean on them too hard, but that's something we might discuss with Sage. Yeah, we'll see.
Well,
I mean, obviously,
you know, I would say, I mean, he obviously is involved in the charity, thing by being active or part of the Wikipedia sphere. So I think that we're pretty okay with that.
Yeah, I guess you're right, Thomas. He's going to have a lot of experience. The people that we're particularly concerned about, I was just talking to Tatiana, who's a 169 student in new projects. It's people who haven't had experience with open source and charity projects and so on, sort of starting and just sort of doing things, particularly if they're relatively junior. Then so that I won't push him on that. Although I think we would love to have his input on the other projects. Like, I mean, he could be giving advice and suggestions. We'll see what his time frame is like. I noticed that Matthew's just joined us. Hey Matt, how are you doing?
Hi, good.
We were just sort of about to finish up, but do you want to give us a report?
Oh yeah, actually nothing. I didn't do a lot yesterday, so nothing.
No worries. Although you did investigate that thing and looking at how to do the Twitter, that or sort of wrap those characterization tests.
I'm gonna get back to that using VCR, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Are you planning to start something in about 20 minutes then?
Yeah.
From now, so you're free preparing. I guess we'll just go around. Any other critical business before we end the Scrum part?
Do we need to have Paul weigh in, because I think we kind of missed his update?
Yeah. So Paul, do you want to see if your audio's going? How are you doing, Paul?
Yes. How's that?
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Do you want to give us a report again?
Yes, I was just saying, Patrick, that I'm just working through some of the review comments from the pull request, and I have a question for you about one of your comments.
Should unmute before I talk. Yeah, so maybe we can connect up after this. I'll create a separate session.
Yeah.
All right. Good stuff. So Paul and Matt can connect up. Any other critical business before we go on? Go on, Thomas.
Not critical in any way. I just want to say thank you very much, Sam, again, for doing this wonderful job with Agile Ventures. I know you're working really hard, and it's important that you hear that we are all very appreciative of the stuff you're doing.
It's really nice to hear from you, Thomas. It's basically having you guys here that makes it all. Well, I'm having a lot of fun. I think that what I want for all of us, for my new Christmas present that I want and the New Year's resolution is that we can get this all onto such a stable footing that we can all carry on doing this stuff that we love. Yeah, thanks, Thomas.
So I've got another thing, Sam, which is
go on, Pat.
I know there's documentation somewhere about the expectation when you start a project and you're running a project in terms of following the Scrum process and holding regular Scrum meetings, holding sprint planning,
right?
Doing a sprint review at the end. But I don't know if it's in Agile Ventures website, or maybe I ought to go in the Agile Ventures set of documentation.
Yeah, I mean, we need to consolidate on the documentation. I did spend some time on the weekend kind of working on this FAQ thing and which links into other elements here. So it's got like bits and pieces. I mean, it's all work in progress. I've put the link in there. I mean, I think my personal latest thoughts on how projects should kind of run and so on, how to start a project they're here in the Agile Ventures. But we do, I guess I don't know that we have a lot of stuff in the main site about how to get started on a project, but I don't know that we have very much for project managers and the kind of things.
I would suggest that we first of all, this getting started feels rather outdated. I think I made talk about this.
You did about. I think you're absolutely right, Thomas. We should replace it with. Stuff
I totally understand that we want the version control stuff, but for new users, I think that routing them into a version control GitHub document is I think it's working for some people, but it can also put some other people off. So
yeah,
I would definitely like to have that.
Well, we do need to make that change. You're absolutely right, Thomas. I mean, I think what we've got here is a sort of a staging post for these things, and we want to get that over and
definitely something for project managers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's really important. So on a personal note, I would say that's one thing is those general guidelines, but from me personally, I love all the the amount of projects that we have, and different people coming in and starting projects. But for me to be involved in Agile Ventures project, it needs to follow certain guidelines, because otherwise it feels like my time will be quote unquote wasted, to get answers to certain questions and stuff like that. So if there is an open board like Pivotal Track, Waffle, or what have you, if there are documents that describe stuff and videos, and then I know where to go to look for certain information. I don't, but that's a personal thing, and I think this is something that we can talk about in the premium Slack instance or something. What does the core team think about certain standards, basically? I would suggest.
Absolutely. Well, that's a great point. What I said to link it back around to Pat's original question is probably the closest thing that we have at the moment is this starting. No, I'm not showing my screen now. Is this starting a new project page here, which talks about the things that you need to do in order to get started. And what I would say, Pat, is if there are things that are lacking from here, then let's get them in here. In particular, you can add them to like, if there are questions on your mind that you think need answered, then they can go into the FAQ and or the starting a new project. I mean, I've got a lot of stuff in my mind. It's this question of like dumping it all out, and then ultimately we do want to move it into the site. We kind of need like a getting started for project managers independently for that. So maybe some of that will come out of the discussion today in the wiki, media thing. But is that enough for you to get started, Patrick, in terms of knowing where to look or where to add things?
Yeah, so I will look at both of those. So the part of the impetus of this was that I did have a little Slack exchange with somebody on a project that I think is really kind of running a little bit chaotic.
Sure.
And there was some frustration there about, I think it erupted over some Git thing about squashing commits or something really not very important.
Yes.
But there was a lot of frustration there because it isn't following any Scrum process at all, and it's really kind of, and the person who's in charge of it really is a great person, doing whatever she thinks she can, but I think she just needs to be guided.
Yes.
And if she doesn't know the Scrum process,
Indeed.
take on a Scrum Master
Indeed.
or have her learn it, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So anyway, I think we got past that, but there was a lot of frustration about that erupted out.
Yes, and I think I know the project, and I think I'm trying to connect with the person on that project. Yes, there's I think more action definitely required. I guess I'm tempted to not get into it any further right now. I think I know exactly what you mean, and I share the concerns, and I think we need to get this aspects of the things nailed down in terms of, I mean, that was partly my motivation in bringing in this recommendation about people getting involved in other projects before they start their own projects. But yeah, we need, I think, documentation is part of the solution, but also the way in which we reach out and support new project members. So I'm tempted to say, like, I guess, do we need to arrange to have a meeting about this at some point? Should we try and take this up in the mentor Slack? Should we create a channel for this maybe in the mentor Slack and take that discussion there, and then we can arrange meetings as necessary? Does that sound like a reasonable?
That seems great. Arrange meetings or interventions or whatever we call them. But that'd be great. In the meantime, I'll check out the documentation and put some more thoughts together as well.
Good stuff. Okay, so let's just check in there on pairing now. So I think Matt and Michael, you're going to both be available in about 10 minutes for a pairing session.
Yes.
Yeah, what about you?
Yeah, I'm around. I'm not sure what should be the focus to work on. I'm going backwards and forwards. But if Matt, if you want to start a session in 10 minutes, I will join you. I think
I'll start working on the VCR, I guess.
Yeah, that would certainly be. It would be a good way in. I need to do some working out what priorities are. Okay, I think Matt and Paul and Pat will do, and Thomas is off. So yeah, Michael and Matt, I'll see you in about 10. Matt, if you start a session for us.
All right.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye.